Hi, welcome to another episode of the Realtor Rant. I am your host, Alana O'Hanlon, with my bestie,
Holly Barrett.
and today we are so excited because we are going to be interviewing an awesome leader in the industry. His name is Max Warlard. He is a founder of the Agent Magnetic Collective. He started a high level open house strategy for agents, and he is also a leader and a mentor with the company that he is with. So, Holly, are you ready to get the rant going?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Max, how are you?
I am good. How are you guys? I'm so excited to do
Good.
this is the fun stuff, and I've always wanted to do a podcast. So I'm jealous that you guys just said we're gonna do it. And I think the topic and the content is like so needed right now. So very, very excited.
Well, we are so
Awesome.
excited to have you here. Now, you are a busy, busy man. I mean, you've got Magnetic Agent Collective, you've got high level open house strategies, you're a leader and your mentor in the industry. Let's just dive right in. How did you come up with the philosophy of Magnetic Agent Collective and Home Group?
Okay, so that's actually a fun story. So a lot of really great things are born out of struggle, right? Are born out of challenges. So Magnetic Home Group and kind of where I started was in the middle of the COVID pandemic. And actually what really started it was the open house system that I built over the last 5 years. And it really got its jump point once we, as an industry, we're like, oh crap, what do we do? We can't show houses. How do we make this safe? How do we navigate this new normal? And some of the most amazing things come out of struggle like that because it forces you to get creative. And what happened was I was able to, with our partners, created an open house system that was touch free, safe. We had lines of people out the door. I'd only let two groups in at a time. And it was something that was necessary to let us keep doing the job that we needed to do because regardless of what's going on in the world, people still need a home. So it allowed me to continue doing what I'm doing, build my business, but it also created kind of this like different energy and a system and kind of a setting that people weren't familiar with. And it was outside the box for, the regular agent. A lot of agents think that open houses are an activity. And what really happened was I took that from an activity into like a business builder and a business model. And that's what I brought to Magnetic Home Group. Magnetic Home Group, the first iteration of it, was a team of 10 brand new agents that we all dove into open houses in terms of a business builder. And I was super proud. Our first year with 10 brand new agents, we did, 30 transactions from nothing, which
Wow.
is
And
pretty
you were
crazy.
all brand new agents.
All of us were brand new. I still called myself a brand new. I still do today. I've been doing this. This is my 10th year of having a license. But yeah, at that point, we really started it 2021, 2022. And it was all brand new agents, not a lot of people that, knew how to nurture a database. Nobody wanted to cold call. Nobody wanted to kind of do some of those like traditional real estate activities. And my approach to it, I actually have a degree in theater. So open houses are my show. It's got a plot. I know who the characters are. I know what the script is. It's immersive theater is what my open house system is. And I think the most special part of it is, it's something that can't be duplicated because there is an element of you that makes it work. So what I really work with agents on is discovering who you are and then adding the pieces that make sense for who you are to build your business, as opposed to a lot of people get a real estate license and then they try to create themselves in this idea of what they think a real estate agent should be. But you have a license. You're a real estate agent. You're a person. So getting down to the nitty-gritty of who you are, what makes you tick, what do you love, what don't you like, and then applying the open house structure to it. It's getting you out in the community. It's showcasing you as somebody that's on the ground doing the work. And especially a lot of us coming into this industry, we're transitioning from something else. So we're recreating an identity And a new identity for me, starting in Michigan, I was the actor that happened to do real estate, and it took me time. Now I'm being seen as somebody that does real estate, and also, by the way, he sings and dances and does all of that kind of stuff. So it's kind of that flip of the script in terms of how you get started that made me kind of build the system this way. And it really traces back to my acting background and my college education as a music theater major. It's how we built the brand and the identity of who you are.
Now, that is such a unique model. Now, when you are talking to agents and you're going through their own identity, do you use the personality disc at all with that?
Oh, big time. Big time. So, and I actually, I teach, there's a section of it, and disc in itself is its own class, right?
Mhm.
And for those of you who aren't familiar, it's kind of taking personality types and putting them into 4 archetypes. And part of what I teach and what we do is recognizing what type you're dealing with when they walk in the door. It's a two-way street, right? They're sizing you up, you're sizing them up. And what a lot of agents don't realize is that and I had a great coach that taught me this as well. You need to be what that other person needs you to be. Because remember what we're doing here. We're dealing with the largest asset that most people are ever going to exchange in their entire life. And for me, I'm an agent that's very, very reverent to that. And it's something that I want to handle very preciously. It's a make or break thing for a lot of people. And one of the reasons that I actually got into real estate in the first place was I was actually in New York, and I was hired to write a show and collaborate with members of a organization that has changed its name since, but at the time it was called Artists Striving to End Poverty. So I did a collaborative work with them and the LaGuardia Performing Arts Center. And I was brought in as a guest artist, and we created a immersive and kind of diverse theater experience that explored the homelessness epidemic in New York City. And it was the show was called Unpacking Home, and it was through dance, through speech, through music, all of these different ways to explore the meaning of home. And that's what that experience, I have goosebumps right now thinking about it, changed my life. We actually, one of the first things we did was we did a simulation where they took all of our possessions, they gave us secondhand clothes and a cardboard box and said, there's New York City for the evening. And we lived as, homeless people would live that night.
Wow.
And yeah, it was wild. It was pretty crazy. We had, there were it was sad. A lot of it was really sad. It's amazing how invisible people become.
Hmm.
That
In
was the
plain
biggest
sight.
thing. In plain sight. It's amazing how invisible people become. It's amazing to be with these unbelievable human beings that know struggle and know how to be crafty and how to make do and how to maximize everything that they possibly have, and just the conversations that I had to have, that I was able and had the privilege to have with them on their experiences. And one of the biggest things about it, one of the biggest takeaways is we have no idea. It's really a very taboo subject in our country and all over the world. And you have no idea how many people homelessness has touched at some point in their life. And I guarantee you it's people that that you talk with every day. So this whole thing and this whole exploration of home made me realize that, kind of a vocation. It's helping people create that home space, that root chakra, the foundation of everything that we do. It's one of the most important things I've been able to do in my life, and I absolutely love what I do, and I love bringing all of those kind of emotional and fun and inventive and all of these different experiences and putting them into the real estate industry and getting to explore that every single day. Because you guys know, I mean, this
Yeah.
is This is the only industry that I know of that on paper it looks like the same thing, but it is never the same thing twice.
That's
So
what I
that
say. There's no monotony in real estate. That's one of the many
none,
things that I love about it.
none. And some people love that and some people hate it. I love it. I joke, I surf every day. I'm a firefighter every day. I'm balancing what's going on, but being able to serve people in from that perspective and really have a reason to do so other than money. I'm a huge believer. Most people think, oh, real estate agent, it's get rich quick, all that kind of stuff. We all know here, you get into the industry, it truly is an 80-20 business. 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the work, and 80% of them, 80% of the people I was sitting in class with 5 years ago to get my Florida license, they're not doing it anymore.
No.
So it takes a very special personality. It takes a very special type of grit to just wake up every day unemployed and go out and make a difference in the world. And that's what I want to share with other people and other agents is you can make this industry whatever you want it to be. And that's
Yeah.
what's so exciting about it. So
Mm.
that's I know I kind of went all over the place, but that's where this is just so exciting. And one of the reasons that I created and I'm not even saying I created, we created, because Alana, you were part of the initial group that came over.
Yeah.
Magnetic Agent Collective isn't about one person, it's about all of us lifting each other up.
Right.
And our industry, I think the biggest urban legend in our industry to date is the idea of the individual agent. I don't think it exists anymore. And there's very certain personalities that I know and people that are so successful that do this all by themselves on an island. And it just takes a very special type of person to do that. And one of my favorite quotes that is kind of driving me right now is if you want to go far, or if you want to go quick, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Hmm.
That was kind of the premise
I
of
like
why
that.
we created this group of experts and just amazing people that come lift each other up, help us build businesses, help us navigate the twists and turns and the challenges and the changes of our industry to really serve at a high level. And that's what it's all about. It's all about community.
And this, the
Amen.
Magnetic Agent Collective, is great because it is almost a collective of small teams or individual agents that no longer have to feel alone. Being a solo agent can feel like a very lonely place at times. And this bridges that gap without having to necessarily be on a traditional team or idea of a team,
Exactly.
but still have the camaraderie, the family, the fellowship of what a more traditional team might be like.
And that brings up a good point. And I think one of the other pieces of our industry that I would love to see go away or change or be a little less prevalent is knowing your worth and how other people look at you in the industry. And I will tell you, there's a lot of agents out there that you're going to meet, right? Oh, and there's going to be a lot of posturing that happens. And one of the first questions that always comes out, and it just I can't stand it, is, well, what did you do last year? Or what were your numbers? Or what were your production? And I had I've had the amazing privilege of learning from people all over the United States and the world, and learning from people that have sold 1,000 homes a year and learning from people that have sold 10 homes a year. And one of the things that's most important is what are your goals and defining your goals and not letting anybody else tell you what your goals need to be. So there is as much value from an agent that sells 2 or 3 homes a year so well, and the same amount of value can come from somebody that sells 200 or 300 homes a year. It can. It's
Oh,
the worth
absolutely.
of what we have to contribute to this industry is not correlated to what you've done. It's about who you are.
I 100% agree with that. I couldn't agree with you more. Now, for new agents in the industry, what would a good piece of advice that you would want to give new agents that are coming into this industry, we've got a big shakeup going on with the NAR settlement. Inventory is shifting right now. We're
Mhm.
getting ready to ride a wave. New agents, what is your advice to them?
Um, Couple things. The first one I said already, like take the time to discover who you are and then build the business that makes sense for who you are. There's a difference between mentors that tell you what to do and mentors that challenge you to discover what you should do. And that is important. I've worked with a lot of people that prescribed exactly what I'm supposed to do, and then the only person that gets frustrated is me, going, "Why is this not working?" And it's because I didn't take that time to discover who am I, what am I good at, what am I not good at, and I think that's the first one. I think the second one is realizing, we talk about the market. When's the best time to get into real estate? When's the best time to sell your home? The best time to sell your home is yesterday. I don't care when you ask that question. It's yesterday. None of us have a crystal ball, right? But what I do know in my experience and where I think the biggest opportunity lies right now is the challenges that we're facing in the industry create the best agents. They create
Just
the
gonna say
best,
that.
they create the best agents and the best opportunities. And I've got a really good friend, his name is Frank Hopkins, that you guys probably know. And he comes from a pastor background. He was actually a pastor for a large church, turned into a real estate investor, turned into a real estate licensed agent. And one of the most amazing things that I think he does is he walks in to a listing appointment or he walks into a meeting with anyone with zero expectation. So, and the expectation isn't, it's understanding that I can help you any way you need help, not I'm here to provide this one service. So I would say the second one is get your tribe together that can help anyone with any need. And you don't have to be you don't have to be everything for everyone, but you can bring everyone that you would need to be be everything for everyone, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And he one of the best pieces of advice he's given me, and this was just a couple weeks ago, the challenging times, the challenging clients are the best learning opportunities. If you can stick through it, find the message, find the lesson in everything that you do, because this is a failing forward industry. You are going to fall. And if you don't fall, you're not doing it correctly. You're not challenging yourself enough. So I would say, wrapping that up, you got to approach this as a business owner. And this is where the idea of the individual agent goes away a little bit. If you're not running this as a true entrepreneur in a business, then you're not going to be able to realize your full potential. And you might not even have the opportunity to understand what your potential is if you're not running this like a business. So that's what I would say.
You're dropping so many gems. So a few things that you said that I want to just emphasize. I love that your energy and passion really is just glowing out of you. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I feel it's so easy to get stuck in the grit and
Mhm.
the not the minutia, but the activities
Yep.
of what we're doing, and forget. It's so easy to forget why we started doing this in the first place.
Yep. And I was going to say, Holly, the activities aren't what get people stuck. It's the thoughts that happen during the activities when they're not
Mm,
working.
mm,
That's what gets people stuck. Anything you do in this industry will work.
mm.
And that's what a lot
Consistency
of
is key.
people, and that's, yeah. I mean, if we were going to say another one for new agents,
Mhm.
give your activities, once you've done that discovery process of what works for you, who you are, what type of business you want to build, give the activities the amount of time they need to actually work. and it's hard. It's one of the biggest challenges because you come into this industry, it's not cheap. You know,
No.
a lot of us are putting out a couple $1,000s, you know, maybe even more depending on your area to even get started. And, you know, there's another coach, and maybe this was actually a book, actually. I think if you haven't read books by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan, Who Not How, 10x is easier than 2x, The Gap in the Game. Like if you're not listening to those books, you need to just go out and read them. I'm listening to them over and over and over again because the mindset is so crucial. And one of the things that's in there, and I'm working on this myself, you know, my husband is not so much, you know, looking at, he's a lot more on the analytical side. You guys know RJ. He's a lot more on the analytical side. He does Excel for a living, analytics, digital marketing, all this kind of stuff. So he's very numbers, what are the results, all that kind of stuff. And one of the biggest conversations I've had to have with him is recognizing the difference between a cost and an investment. And we talk about this with especially with like going to conferences and events, right? He might say, how much is this going to cost us? And I have to turn the conversation into, this is what I'm investing in our future. And a lot of times it's not, for me, it's not sitting in that session every single time, but it's connecting with other people and kind of continuing to build that organization of experts in anything that I may ever need. So think about it, you know, thinking about cost versus investment, game changer just from a mindset perspective.
Oh, I love that. And your network is your net worth, right?
Love that.
You know, the most successful people I know, it seems like what really turned the gas, like with the gas pedal, you know, on when things started to really escalate 10x was when they started getting serious about attending seminars and workshops and networking events. That they would make a deal with themselves to attend like one a quarter or something, and it really got intentional about that.
If
And it
you are
just blows up.
100%, and what a lot of people need to understand too, you know, we talk about building a business and running a business. The first step of that, most of us come from working from somebody else. And I do this at the beginning of my workshops. I'll go around the room, or I'll address the room and I'll say, hey, how many of you, is this your first job ever? And maybe I'll get one person that's 18 years old in the back that raises their hand. Everyone else has a history that they come from, right? So taking that discovery process, learning what that is, but also coming back and taking the time that you need in that investment to build that tribe, build that organization, and recognize that this is lifelong learning.
Right.
This industry, I mean, doctors call it a practice. Why do you think they call it a practice? You know, I think of this as a real estate practice. I mean, I know the rules. You got to know the rules, you got to know the guardrails, but
they're always changing.
they're always changing. They're always shifting. I mean, look at what we just went through and what we're still going through. It's the largest change we've seen in 30 years. So getting really comfortable with the unknown, and then taking that position of, you know, I'm going to be a lifelong learner, and really taking that transition from being an employee where you have your lane, you have your tasks, you have your expectations, and moving it to employer where you're creating, that is one of the biggest challenges you're going to face.
Right.
There's people that have been in this industry for years and years and years that have not taken that full shift yet. And it's holding them back. And I'm not saying, and again, this is me, I'm not saying holding them back from, you know, massive wealth or anything like that. I think that's the side effect of, you know, doing the actual work. It's holding them back from doing what they're on this earth to do, which
Right.
is really serve others. I mean,
Mm.
create community. I
Well,
mean, instinctive human emotions.
And agents get caught up in too much in working in their business and not on their business.
Mhm.
And if agents don't learn how to work on their business while they're in their business, as soon as you stop selling real estate, the income stops coming in.
Right.
And that really isn't taught enough, in my opinion, on how to do we go from just being the real estate agent selling single family homes or commercial or investment properties, whatever your specialty is,
Yep.
into how do we build a real estate business that we can then take our income and then build on to where we are now making residual income so that we won't have to necessarily be on a hamster wheel for the rest of our lives.
Right. Well, and think about it too. If you are one of the lucky people that are going to build a business like that, and anyone can do it. I'm telling you right now, anyone is capable of doing this. But if you are lucky enough to kind of get over that hump and to get to that point, you when you are working on your business, you realize very quickly, a lot of us, that you're stepping into your power, and sometimes working in the business is taking away from that stuff that is so potent and so powerful that you've got to figure it out. And it's leverage.
Right.
Leverage. We're afraid. I mean, agents are afraid. And I have a great coach, Kelly, who we've had this discussion, and this is also in the books as well. A doctor, I'm going to bring it back to this, right? When they go to school, part of their education is learning what it takes to run an office. Can you imagine walking into the doctor's office and the doctor's the one behind the reception desk checking you in? Then they're going and pulling your file, they're collecting your payment, and then they're going to go back and they're going to put on their gloves, do the surgery. Then they're going to take off the gloves, clean it, and then bring you back out, check you out. Like, no, they don't do that. They literally, as part of the education, you need to have a billing coordinator. You need to have a front desk receptionist. You need to have a nurse. You need to have all of these pieces. And we don't get that education in the real estate industry. It's so hard to do the job, so easy to get the license relatively, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, my first license in Michigan, it was a 40-hour course, and congratulations, you passed the test and you have a license. 40 hours. Doctors, how long do they have to go to work? How long do they have to go to school? I mean, it's years and years and years and years, and then residency, and then this. So,
Real estate really is on the job training at its
oh,
finest. I mean, we don't learn contracts, we don't learn negotiation skills, none of that
I
in
just,
your
I just had a,
residential real estate sales course.
yeah, no, I just had a meeting with an agent in Michigan that's thinking about getting their license. And the whole conversation that we had was, hey, go get the license because it has nothing, almost nothing to do with the job. So just get that piece of paper that says you can do this job, and then the real work begins.
And then we get to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I also wanted to go back to what you said about, not not trying to be this like model Instagram worthy realtor that you think you're supposed to fit this mold. Like
Mhm.
it's based upon build the business around what you want it to be and your strengths and leveraging. Like Lonnie is a top agent, you're a top agent. I'm not. I'm a 3 to 10 deal a year agent at this
And,
point in my life. And
and that's
and I,
amazing.
and sometimes I'm hard on myself, like, oh, I need to, I need more business. Like, I should be doing this. But then I forget, wait, I didn't get into this wanting to be, my goal was not to be this, top agent residential. My goal was to focus on investors, to focus on my investment portfolio as well, to focus
Mhm.
on, my kiddos who are still young. There's a lot of moving parts going on, and I do the best I can with my clients that I get, but I don't know why we put these I mean, they are unrealistic expectations. Like that doesn't fit my lifestyle right now, and maybe it will next year. Maybe that'll change. But that's I don't know why I have it. You get it in your head that like you're supposed to be this.
It's because the industry feeds that to you, and what they're not telling you, what the consensus is, in the real estate cannot be your whole life. It feels like it. You will be challenged with that throughout your career. This is for the new agents, you guys. You will be challenged and you will be consumed. There will get to a point where you will be consumed by the industry. And at that point, you either stay down that path or you realize, okay, I have kids, I have hobbies, I have things I like to do, and I'm going to tell you, I'm a living example of figuring this out right now. I have a degree in music theater performance. I haven't been on stage in 10 years,
Oh,
and it's one of my passions. I mean, I sing in the shower. The last time I sang in public was my wedding. You know, I did. I surprised him. I sang the vows, and it was amazing. But how amazing, how much more amazing would it be if I can do what I need to do for real estate and work efficiently, and then have the rest of my time to do the things that I'm also passionate about? And think about it. This is where this is where if you take a step back and you look at look at the bird's eye view of what you're doing. If I go join say I join a choral society or even an amateur, you know, choir in the area, or if I, work and coach kids in an after school program. I did that in college. Who am I running into? Who am I meeting? Who
future
am I
clients.
exactly? And who am I meeting that understands me, the person, not Max, the real estate agent?
Like-minded individuals who you share values and yeah, and interests.
100%. And
Mhm.
think about the results there. If I know your values, if you know my values, what do you think that does to the trust factor? Through the roof.
Mhm.
If you know my values, if I care about our relationship, if I'm somebody that's showing up and making a difference in your life outside of the real estate realm, we do a great transaction together. Do you think that person's going to call me back? Yes. And you guys, database. And we going back to like the actual like meat of what's going on right now. I think the true difference between people that are gonna thrive and the people that are gonna peter out is, are you working the people that know, like, and trust you? Are you really, and Alana, you are like an expert in this. You do 8 to $12 million a year with people that your phone rings with people that you want to answer that phone.
Mhm.
Now you can build a business the other way, and there's many successful people that do that and pay for leads. It's not my personality. It's what I discovered. I've done two houses with I did actually one house that I did with somebody that I didn't know, and it was just a rocky road the entire time. And it's because, and it was part of the learning experience. I know that my worth is in the relationship. What I really have to contribute is in the relationship. I also happen to be really good on the skills and the tools and the systems that are needed to do the job very well. But I would challenge everybody to, you know, think about transactional versus relational and figure out which one you want to be. And both are going to work. Anything you do is going to work. But for me, this relational side of it is so much more rewarding. I get to collaborate on so many different projects. I get to do things that I didn't, that are outside the box. And it's just so much more fun and exciting. And it matches who I am, you know? That's a big part of really that self-discovery process is, are you somebody that is suit and tie, gonna pound the phones, gonna get the job done for somebody, without knowing too much? Like, are you that person? And if you are, that's great. Run in that direction. But a lot of us aren't that person and get pushed in that direction, and then peter out of the industry.
Because like you going back to what you said about the coaches and the mentors that should you on what you should be doing. This is how you should be. This is
They
what you
should
should
all
be
over
doing.
you.
They should all over you instead of meeting you where you are. Just like we had our mentee on our one group call that one day, and
Yeah,
he was talking about all the things that he didn't like. And I was like, whoa, what do you like to do? Well,
right.
I like to go have coffee with people. Well, why aren't you calling your database and taking somebody out to coffee? You could do that
Mhm.
every single day. You
Right.
not
Mhm.
think in a month that you wouldn't get some sort of business from doing that? And it's something you like to do. And you're never going to do something you might say that you're going to do, but in a consistent form, you're not going to stick with something that you don't like to do. And then you're going to get discouraged. You're going to fall down on yourself.
Mhm.
And that's why people leave the industry.
Well, and you're one of the people that, you're one of my sounding boards on this. Progress over perfection.
Progress over
I am a
perfection.
perfectionist, And I'm learning the pitfalls of that. I'm learning what it means to not have something completely ready and be so scared that it's not perfect and ready. But think about videos. All right, let's talk about videos, or just like something in general, right? What videos do you watch all the time? Do you watch the videos of like the perfect model doing all the shots with all the perfect makeup and all that kind of stuff? Are you watching those on repeat, or are you watching somebody that like falls off the trampoline,
No,
or that like,
the funny ones.
right? And it's not even that they're funny ones, it's real life.
They're
So
relatable.
yeah, right. It's like this podcast. Do you prepare for it? Do you not prepare for it? And this is one of my superpowers, right? I don't.
You're our first episode that we did teeny preparation for.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's see what happens, because
Let's see
I
how it
think
goes.
that I think the spontaneity of life is where the most interesting things come from.
For sure.
And it's also the most relatable. Like, I teach video in my open house system, and, give me 4 weekends, I can make you look busier than any other real estate agent that's in your market, because you're going to show up in people's faces consistently. You're going to give them education. You're going to provide them value all through the open house system, right?
So
And
that's a
everybody's
great
like, oh,
segue
go ahead. No,
Yeah.
let's do it.
into this. Tell us a little bit more and break down the key components that make the open house strategy so effective.
Well, so there's a couple, all right, so key components, we'll go to that. So I'm a huge believer in, when you're discovering the things to do, there's a difference between just basic activities. And I would challenge any agent, this is not just new agents, any agent, look at what your activities are and what you're doing, and what are the ones that are literally standalone activities where you have to do this and it doesn't feed any other activity. And I would challenge you that if you find those, and you will find them, 2 or 3 of them, you don't need them.
You don't need them.
You either don't need them, or you need to figure out how to tie them in, because all of us, the greatest resource, the most precious resource of our life is what?
Time.
Time. And if I can do one activity that fills 4 buckets at the same time, as opposed to doing one activity that does one thing, then one activity that does another thing, that one activity that does another thing, that's where we get into the trap of working in our business and getting on that hamster wheel that never ends. So the open houses, what I discovered early on is I'm stepping into my power as a relationship oriented person. I'm in, I can read body language. I can look you in the face. You can touch. I incorporate all the senses into the open house intentionally. And I teach on it, right? All the senses, taste, smell, sound, all of it. So that's there. So in person, the most potent thing you can ever do. Why is everybody telling us we need to do buyer presentations? It's not because the rule changed. It's because it's a necessary part of creating the relationship and the trust that you need to get past the rule change, right? So with open houses, you're in the environment, you are the expert. And Magnetic Home Group, you asked me about the word magnetic. That was a ton of word association. I've built my entire business on open houses. I moved to Orlando, I knew 2 people. And now, I'm not quite where Alana is, but I'm on my way of having my phone ring with people, that are like, hey, I know this person and I can't think of anybody else other than you to help them. I want to get you connected. So open houses are putting you in the environment where people recognize who you are. So especially those of you that are maybe having a challenge coming from being an actor to now all of a sudden I'm a person in business and a real estate agent. When people are seeing you in the environment and seeing you do the job and can visit you, I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone, right? I'm showing up to the open house. I'm meeting new people and creating new relationships, which is what this is all about. Open houses are a giant database activity. When I got my marketing company on board, I handed over a database of 2,800 people that I had met over 4 years through open houses.
Wow.
So I'm building a database that's going to feed me. And 2,800, the larger the database, I'm going to tell you guys, does not mean better. Bigger is not better when it comes to database. Quality over quantity. So I'm filling that bucket. I'm filling the social media bucket because I'm recording very specific videos that are educational, that are touring the home, that are showcasing my personality. So I'm getting in front of those people that can't visit. If it's my listing, I'm also bringing in people that wouldn't otherwise see that property because of the signs and everything that I use. And then I'm also looking for new clients at the same time because I'm not trying to capture everybody. I'm trying to capture the right people. I always joke on this. I'm not the right date for everybody. I'm not going to force you to date me. But if you're at an open house and we make a connection and we can build this really short rapport, and there's some psychology behind this and the whole system, but if you can build this rapport really quickly, first of all, the people that are at open houses are way further along in the process than anybody you're going to find online or anybody that you're cold calling. Unless
Very
it's an
true.
expired.
Yeah.
Then maybe an expired or FISBO might be in the same place, but they're still figuring out. If people are there, you're getting them, closer to the viable part of what you do. So I'm building my database. I'm getting clients that are right now clients. I can't tell you, I've double-sided 4 listings this year that I've done open houses. I've met new clients that we've closed other properties, and then they have a network. Every client that you work with, if you maintain the relationship the right way, should be at least 5 more transactions during the lifetime of your relationship. It should.
So, so
Yeah.
Max, let me just interject here. So, I love your approach to open houses because you are taking your talent as an entertainer and really highlighting that and making it fun. Um, I love to be at parties. I don't love to plan them. And
Mm-hmm.
so I get kind of, I think, hung up on this dread feeling of like, I have to like, organize the signs and I have to put them out. And I
Mm-hmm.
need like water? And then I have to go here and get the water. It's like really
Yep.
stresses me out. Like, what am I supposed all the little moving parts. But then when I'm in the open house and I'm actually doing it, I actually do have a really good time because I also love to entertain. I love to host. I just don't really love to do all the little stuff to set up.
Right.
I wish I had a
You and I are the
minion
same
that could
way.
just set up.
You and I are the
But
same. I can't tell you how many times, and I do this. I can't tell you how many times I wake up on Saturday morning and go, oh, okay, all right, I gotta go do this. I gotta get the signs. I gotta do this, and then I show up at the open house and I have an amazing time.
right.
So there is that part of it, and that's why I say this is not easy. This job is not easy, you guys. There's nitty gritty, crappy parts of it where I'm trudging through the mud trying to find the lockbox that the listing agent had hid next to the air conditioner on the left side of the. You know what I'm saying?
And it's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, I do open houses in Florida in August. I'm not a small dude. I'm sweaty Betty out here. You know what I mean?
Do you
So,
bring a change of clothes?
oh yeah. Oh, big
And do
time.
you wear different shoes like when you're putting out the signs?
Big time.
Big
Big time.
time.
Yeah.
And
Because
you bring
I
a
have
different
to.
shirt.
Otherwise, there's nothing worse than showing up to an open house. And especially if it's the first listing and you're going to get some people that are in there at 11 when it opens, there's nothing worse than rolling up and you are just absolutely disgusting and telling people, I'm sorry, can you just wait outside in this 100-degree heat for like 10 more minutes while I go change and finish what I'm doing? No. But back to what Holly was saying, yes, that's part of it. I don't like that part either. But with the system, I know I have a checklist of exactly, I know I need to do this, and this. And I've actually got it to the point where I can do most of that work the day before when I'm not crunched for
Mm.
time.
That's what I was going to ask.
Show up and
Proper
ready to go.
preparation prevents poor
Yeah,
performance
Mm.
and
100%.
less stress the day of the open house.
Yeah,
So,
and the hard part with prep in this industry again is it changes every day. So you also have to find that balance between, okay, I'm going to over prepare for this event that might be next week, but what if this house goes under contract tomorrow? Then all that work that I've done. So you've got to figure out what feels good for you, but
So
all the systems and the processes are there.
will you still do an open house if you've prepared for it and let's say it goes and you've advertised for a week, and let's say it goes under contract on a Thursday, your open house is on a Saturday. Will you still do the open house or will you cancel it?
It depends. Most of the time I'll cancel it, and here's why. So think about why do people want to work with you? Why do people want to work with you? We said it like 8 different
Trust
times.
you.
They know,
Trust,
like, and
right?
trust you. Yep.
Trust. So a lot of people, the most viable people are going to be coming off of signs, right? The truly most viable, like, and when I say most viable, not the most viable buyer, because it's not necessarily about selling that house that you're doing. It's about making new connections and meeting new people that may not have representation that you can then be that person for them, right? That's where I think, right? And to be clear, I could have an open house that has one person come through it, but if I converted that person and had a great conversation, I've done my job. That's it. And I've had open houses that have had 152 groups of people through there, and I'm Vanna White at the front door, and I actually hate it because I can't have that connection with people when there's that many. So going back to if I would cancel it or not, I would cancel it because if those most potent, viable people, I've lost them the moment they walk in the door and I have to tell them that the house is already pending. I've lost them because I haven't had the time to build their trust and rapport. I haven't had the time for them to discover who I am. That's all part of the process at the open house. It's just like showing up to a house where it's got gorgeous pictures online, and then you show up to the house and it looks like absolute garbage because they've been over edited and all that.
It's like a bait and switch.
It's a bait and switch. So it's about showcasing what, it's about being able to provide the service in that time. If it's pending, you're going to be running a race that you can't catch up with. I'd actually rather cancel it and do another house.
So we could go on and on about open house. You have a whole system and you actually teach classes on this. What is the best way for people to just take your class, actually?
So I'm so glad you asked that. I've been teaching it in person for the last 4.5 years, and I spoke at the Epic Realty convention this year, and everybody, I had people from Washington and all over the country that were there going, how do I learn this? And I've been teaching it in person only. So I actually, in production right now, have a fully recorded class that I'm going to bring to the market. It's not ready yet. It will get there, but I would say if you're somebody that's interested, please send me an email, reach out to me, and I can give you guys that contact information and maybe put at the bottom of the podcast or something. Email would be best. And then I can get you on that list for, once it's ready. I actually got the first round of edits a couple days ago, and I haven't had a chance to watch them yet. And I'm terrified.
I can't wait to see.
Well, I'm terrified because it's so hard going from a conversation like we're having here, which is usually how I teach it, to like, give me the meat and potatoes, give it to me in a succinct sound bite. I recorded for almost 8 hours straight. And it was probably one of the most challenging things I've done in a really long time. So I'm excited to see it. I'm nervous to see it. But remember,
we should have a watch party.
I know we should. I would love it. I'd be there. We'll make food. One of the big things about it, and I said this at the beginning, you can copy every single thing that I do, but it will never be how I do it because there's an element of you that you have to bring into this process for it to be viable and to work. So the cool thing is now, instead of teaching the whole system and feeding everybody from a fire hose in person, now that it's here, the workshops and the things that we're going to be doing are going to be kind of higher level and diving into some more of that, nitty gritty, mechanics and kind of the glue that holds everything together. And you're the glue. You're the reason that people want to work with you. So talking about in your business and on your business, recording that was giving me an opportunity to work on the business and work with people in the development instead of, teaching them the same thing over and over and over again and kind of staying in the business.
Yeah.
So
that's
I'm
awesome.
super excited about that. Reach out to me. Team@Magnetic Home Group is going to be the best email, which, it's out there, team@Magnetic Home Group. And I definitely would like to connect with you because it's changed my life.
Yeah.
It's changed my life 100%. And nothing is more rewarding than having agents that I've, taught and, collaborated with on this, call me and say, hey, Max, I've paid off $50,000 in a credit card using your system. And
Wow.
there's nothing better than nothing better.
Wow. So, want to be respectful of your time, but want to jump into talking about your role as an area leader. Can you,
Yeah.
talk about what that's like? Just, tell us more about that.
No, it's amazing. So one of the things that I love about where I am now is kind of this mindset of individuality, contributing to the greater good, everybody collaborating and helping each other. So one of the things that I'm obviously passionate about is helping other agents grow and discover their power. And being in this area leader position, I kind of think of it as a cultural, and Alana, you're an area leader too. I think of it as a cultural ambassador role. I'm the person that's going to help you put the dots together, not in an official coaching capacity. That's a different conversation, but in a, hey, I'm out here by myself, or at least you feel like you're out here by yourself, and I don't know the answer to this and I need some help. I'm somebody that's there to kind of point you in the right direction. And sometimes I'm just a connector. Sometimes I hear your problem and I say, you know what, I'm not the right, you want to talk about Lofty and CR? I'm not the greatest person at that. Let me get you with this other person who I know is stellar.
Mhm.
And it's this cultural ambassador and this position that also, one of the things that we do is we create community. We create training events and just happy hours and social times and these spaces where we can get together and like I said, at the workshops, conventions, all that kind of stuff, that's where the magic really happens. So we get to create that on a month-to-month basis. And it's not something that's required, it's something that's available to our agents. And sometimes we do, more out, it's not just our Epic Realty family. Sometimes we want to share it with everybody else. I'm a firm believer that if we help each other grow within this industry, if we help each other create a high standard of practice, then the only people the people that are ultimately going to win are our clients, are the people that are buying and selling homes.
And just
And
to clarify,
yeah,
for those who don't know, area leaders are a role within Epic Realty,
yep.
and they are regional, and you, Max, are in Orlando.
Yep, I'm central. Well, I'm going to say Central Florida because I actually have some people in Polk County. I have some people in Brevard County. And I wasn't the first. We actually had an Orlando area leader, and I thought the position, she's amazing. Jen is awesome. And I thought that, I wanted to figure out how to help. And especially the cool thing about Epic, being more of a startup company is we're on the ground right now building the future of this company. We raise our hand and we have a voice and we have a way forward to help with the future of what this looks like. And we're in this really important time in the industry where a lot of this is going to shift. And it's okay. It's exciting. It's amazing. So being in this position and being able to help others, regardless of skill level, regardless of how many years you've been in the industry, and just be that support, it means the world to me. It means the world to me. And it's, I'm a connector and a collaborator. So
And a teacher.
and a teacher, and a sounding board and a shoulder to cry on and all of that. I mean, we joke how many, how amazing would it be? I've got a colleague of mine, or a colleague of ours, I should say, that has a degree in psychology and was a licensed therapist. And her and I got together last week or a couple weeks ago, and we're talking about creating a niche within this community based on her skills. So the area leader position allows me to do that without this like official formal coaching capacity. Which also is good for me too, because we're not necessarily married, because I'm busy too. And a lot of us, time. So it's creating this culture where you have support, you have somebody that's available, you have a way to get together, you have a way to connect with others and provide value to the community. And I really think of it as a community ambassador position. I love it.
Mm.
Yeah, that's really great. How do you balance it all between the collective and teaching your open house strategy and the mentorship? How do you balance it all, Max?
All of you. I don't do it. Having support and people come on this journey with me and be a member of the journey, not a, I don't need to be the face of anything. I'd rather all of us be the faces of, because we can make a bigger impact together than I can by myself. So part of that challenge and that in building the community, it's exactly what we've been talking about. Having people that have different skills that are better at, and having the humility to say, oh my God, you are so much better at this than I am. How can we work together? And what's something that I can help you with in return? So it's really, creating your tribe. That is how I do it. I have, John, look at this background. Can
Oh,
I
I
do this?
love John.
Can I
Shout
do
out
this?
to
Yeah.
John.
Can I do this? Yes. Can John do it in half the time with much more creativity than I could? Yes. So we help with that. And then in turn, I help with agent development. I help with contract conversations. I help, all of this stuff. So it's creating, it's not operating on an island. That is it. If you want to know the secret, stop operating on an island and the world will open up to you. And I don't want to go in a negative place on it, but I will say this because this is some of the best advice I've ever gotten in my life is when people tell you who they are, believe them. And that goes for agents that may be brand new when they're trying to find the mentor that's the right fit for them. And everybody's saying, oh my gosh, but there's something on, like, listen to yourself. You know what is best for you. 100%. And it doesn't matter if you've had your license for 15 years or 15 minutes. You know right here what's good and what's not. And um, who you surround yourself with. It makes all the difference in the world. It makes all the difference in the world. So if you want to strive for excellence in a certain path, put yourself in the position to be with people that are excellent on that path. And don't just show up and take, show up and say, I also have something to give, because you do. And I joke with Magnetic Agent Collective, right?
Yep.
I call it the little red library. Hey, we've got Facebook groups, we've got all these collaboration thing and tools and stuff that we use. Take a book, but leave two behind for others.
Lead with contribution. And it could be
Please.
the smallest nugget that you don't even know could help somebody else. I always call I call it my drunk monkey, right? That self-doubt,
Yep.
that negative thought that maybe I don't have enough to contribute, or you get imposter syndrome because you see all, the glorious things that other people are doing. You never know what you have that will influence and contribute to somebody's life, even if it's small. Just get out
Mhm.
there and contribute. It all starts with just a little nugget. And then once you get those nuggets going, your wheels get turning.
Right.
Well, and agents too, like one of their biggest challenges, and especially new agents when they're following up with people and they don't get that call back.
Mhm.
What do?
Give up.
Well, they give up, but
They-
before they give up, they inflict pain on themselves and they make themselves the problem.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, what did I do? How did I screw this up? Why aren't they calling me back? Is it me? Did I not wear the right thing? Did I say something wrong? But shh,
I
don't do
just had
Mm.
a perfect example. Just had an agent talk about she does Popeyes,
that. Mhm.
and she had been delivering Popeyes to this woman for 10 years. Woman, not a thank you, not a acknowledgement of the Popeye. Of course,
Mhm.
she's in her head, maybe I did something, maybe, she doesn't like the Popeyes. All those, drunk monkey thoughts she gets in her head. She got a call from the woman last week. Woman wants her to list the home. She said, I get all your Popeyes. I appreciate them so much. I just never have a chance in the moment to let you know I'm thankful for it. And then the time passes. but I am so thankful. And look, now she's getting a deal. So it is the consistency. Even when you don't think people know that you're showing up, they know that you're showing up. Keep doing it.
Well, and you
Keep
never,
loving on people. And now more than ever, people need to be loved on, because if we are having those thoughts, you've got to think that everybody else is having those thoughts as well, regardless if you're in our industry or not.
and you never know the situation. You know, that was a consistency story.
Mhm.
This is another one. Last week, you know, we're waiting on an offer. The agent's like, the offer's coming tomorrow. The offer doesn't come. My sellers are like, why isn't it here? What's happening? Blah, 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 blah. And you know, in my experience, these are the times where you take a deep breath and you start asking questions. So I asked some questions and I said, hey, like, you know, and I got the response. They're waiting till the end of the week. They're trying to get some things together. And, you know, I go back to the sellers, let them know. The seller's like, well, why are they waiting till the end of the week? Blah, blah, blah. So I come back, have another conversation, and it turns out that the wife has Parkinson's. They have, you know, some medical things and some financial things to get together before they can make this big purchase, and they needed time. So it's not, you have no idea what's happening in someone else's life. And the biggest roller coaster merry-go-round, you know, just waste of time, for lack of a better phrase, is going to be trying to figure out why or what, or, you know, why aren't they calling me back? What's happening? Why aren't they putting this offer in? Was it me? You know, it's a waste of time, because everybody else is coming to this with different experience. If that person's calling you, not calling you back, 99.9% of the time, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them.
Right.
And it's okay. You'll show up differently if you give them the grace and space for their life to happen. And then, just like your friend or the agent that you talked with, where they did the pop by for 10 years, you showed up for them for 10 years and they didn't forget you. It's not always about the commission check or the kudos or the, oh my God, I couldn't do it without, you know, oh, I need you right now. It's not always about that. So have the confidence to stand on your own 2 feet and know your value and show up regardless of what happens. Have no expectation. And then you're going to be surprised every single time the amazing things happen. If you don't have an expectation for something to happen, you're setting yourself up for like a life of joy, because things are just going to happen. The side effect, the money, the new listings, the, you know, the referrals, the phone calls, all of those things will come together if you show up and contribute without expectation. And that's it. That's really the biggest challenge. And this is not just real estate. This is life.
Yeah.
This is life.
100%.
So
Well, we are so thankful for you coming on here. I just want to wrap it up with some fun questions.
yeah,
Do
let's do
some
it.
fun questions.
I love it.
Okay, so the first one is hit us with like 3 to 5 of your favorite current marketing strategies. Like what are you finding the most effective right now?
Don't sleep on events. Events. Again, I'm a big person creating community. Events are number one. Networking and putting yourself in the room. A lot, you know, I said this and everybody laughed at me the other day, you know, talking with a colleague, that new agent. Or no, actually, this was at I'm a member of Toastmasters. So I have a degree in theater. I know how to get up in front of people and talk, but I'm a member of Toastmasters because I really want to understand the nitty gritty and the mechanics so that I can help other people, right? I had this conversation with her. I said, stop being a secret agent. You know, a lot of us sit, you know, we want the office. Okay. I can't tell you, I have my office. I can't tell you how many times I sat there by myself. Or I have my home office right now and I sit there behind the desk. So networking and getting involved with your community in a way that is service oriented, and it's not, you know, I had another agent that said, oh, I'm going to volunteer, right? And remember, we said, how many buckets can I fill with one activity? If you're going to volunteer, which is amazing and you absolutely should, where are you volunteering and how are you showing up and who are the people you're volunteering with? Are they in line with your goal? Because there's a lot of different ways to volunteer. So it's unpacking. Sometimes we have to shoot from the hip, and sometimes we have to unpack and make the right decision. So networking, connecting with the community, events, open houses, open houses, open houses, open houses. It is a community event. You're meeting the neighbors, you're meeting all these people. And then realistically, and this is my biggest challenge, is social media. I'm an elder millennial. I'm not somebody that it's just not second nature for me to be like, oh, I'm having brunch, let me take a picture of it. But that's okay. What I need to do and what I am doing is I have other people helping me create, the posts, or, John helps me with videos, or, my VA team in the background is helping me with informational posts, because again, I need time. So because it's not something that I love, does that mean I avoid it? Or does that mean I should avoid it? No. But I can tailor it to what I need in the moment and what I want in the moment. So social media is one of the biggest powerful tools. And this, especially as this industry, and one of the reasons I love being with Epic and with our previous brokerage, I have a national outreach. I'm licensed here, I'm licensed in Michigan. I have friends all over the country, and I can help them. I'm not tied to one location in one spot. And that's a strategy. You can be hyper local if you want, and we can talk about it and the reasons for it. But for me, I want that national outreach. So social media, most powerful tool that you have, hands down, to connect with people regardless of where they are.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we are elder millennials too. I think
We're
we
all
all
here.
Yes, we are.
Well, we're out here. We're
but
figuring it out.
and I loathe social media. Like I
Mhm.
actually have a really moral like struggle with it because I think
Yeah.
it's the downfall of humanity itself. So I don't know like if
Well,
I should even be participating
it's
in its
a
destruction.
well, and it's funny because it's a Trojan horse. It's preaching connectivity, and it's creating isolation.
Right. So
Ooh,
I've
that's
been down
huge.
that is. I've been down so many Reddits, like basically Googling like realtors who resist and do not do social media. Like, is this a
Right.
thing? But I like your idea of just leveraging because you're right, it's here to stay, right? That's why I just accept that it's here to stay and I need to participate.
Here
Well,
to
that's
stay.
why we started the podcast.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and Alana, like you said at the beginning with social media, we'll go on that real quick. A lot of people are doing like brunch and TikToks and all that kind of stuff. And my question on that is, okay, great, but what's the, going back from a business perspective, what's the sales cycle here? Because me just posting a video of me, opening a closet door and saying, hey, look at me, where is that person going to go? How am I going to actually connect with that person? A lot of people need to stop focusing on the number of likes and figure out the actual pipeline, the actual flow of what the journey that this person is going to go through to
Right.
find you, especially if they like what you're doing and you are probably the right person. People do posts all the time, just sold. And it's just a picture of the house that's just sold. How am I going to engage with you? A
Yeah.
comment and a like is not an engagement that I can actually work with. Now, if I have a just sold and then it's got a call to action that says click here, if you missed out on this house and there's some other properties that might interest you, and then I have a way to capture their information, then I have a way to connect with them. I mean, they have to open the door to do that. But a lot of people, it's not about likes and subscribes. It's about where are you going to get this time with them? How are you going to get them to this point? And and that's why, like, we talk about changes in the industry and everything. 4 years ago, everybody's freaking out about Open Door and OfferPad and all this. I've yet to see them do an open house. I've yet to see Zillow do an open house or create a client appreciation event or show up at a cocktail party, or I've yet to see it. So the relationship game, in my opinion, is the game that will never end. It's the game that's never going to expire. And face-to-face contact, there's always going to be people that value that over expediency or efficiency, or that's, we're again, root chakra, guys. Home. It's the foundation of everything that we are. And not everybody is in the position to go, oh yeah, handle that. I don't care who you are, just like get it done. No.
And there will always be those transactional people, right? That the offer doors and all of those services serve.
Yeah,
The majority of people still want a human interaction. They
right.
want that relationship. They want to feel like somebody has their best interest at heart with their largest financial transaction
And
of
it's
the
the
year, if not their life for some people. And we're honored to be able to have the opportunity to walk hand in hand
yeah.
with them through that.
And it's the biggest missed opportunity. And that's why, like what you do, Alana, with your, sphere of influence and your reach outs and your pop buys, and I'm in the area, I'm going to take it, like how you love on your people is extremely special and rare, because when you look at the statistics, it's well over 70% of people that go to sell their home after they bought it with an agent don't call that agent back.
Right.
And it's because they never followed up with them. I know somebody that was the #1 agent in the world at his previous brokerage, and in 1 year sold almost 1,000 homes and didn't follow up with one person.
Wow.
And think about we talk about finding the gold and all that. It's there. It's there. The gold is
Right.
in front of us, but it's like the thing that if that's all you're focusing on, it's going to elude you. But if you're focusing on how to get it, you know what I mean? How to get the gold is to show people that you care about them. That's how you get it.
Yeah. Fall in love with the process, right?
Yeah, it's fall in love with the process, not the results. The results are going to happen. And I can 100% guarantee you that where you think you're going to end up and where you actually end up, you wouldn't even be able to dream where you end up. 9 months ago, when I made this change, did I think that I was going to be part of an organization in 9 months of over 100 agents in 8 different states and being on this podcast with you? Heck no. But I'm enjoying it. I'm having a great time, and it feels good. It feels right. And I'm always looking to improve. I'm always looking to learn. And it's what makes it interesting. It's the spice of life, my friends.
All
So,
right. Next question, Lonnie. Next fun question.
Yes. So, who is your favorite or couple of favorite inspiration real estate coaches that you've really leaned on to help you get to this level of success that you've gotten to?
oh my gosh, my favorite. Well, I already talked about Benjamin Hardy and
Dan Sullivan.
Dan Sullivan.
Yeah.
Yep. Dan Sullivan's been an entrepreneur, and they're not necessarily real estate coaches. He's been an entrepreneurial coach for years and years, and I think since the 70s. I think he's called
Love
Strategic
his books.
something. They're amazing. Huge value there. I actually find a lot of value when I don't necessarily go to a real estate based coach or program or podcast, because I think where the magic happens is figuring out the activities based on the mindset. And when you zoom out from the entrepreneurial mindset, learning that and unpacking that is going to lead to the activities. I've never been somebody that goes to a productivity coach. Somebody that
Oof.
said, I need you to do 50 phone calls this day and this, and then boiling it down. It's just not me.
Or write me a check for $100,000. And if
Yeah,
you
if
don't
you
do
don't
what
do
you say
this,
you're
then
going to do,
you've
I'm
got
going to cash it.
you've got to write a letter to your family and apologize
Yeah.
to them about why you haven't. And I'm like,
But what a
no,
loser you are
like
because
my
you don't do
husband's
what
not
you're
writing an
supposed
apology
to.
letter to me. Like, what the heck? But I think there's actually another podcast that I think is amazing. And I've listened to a couple episodes. He actually comes from a fitness background, but if you haven't listened to Headstrong, Nick Comedina, it's there's some really, really interesting stuff in there. And a lot of it comes from this very like intellectual, spiritual perspective on how he's coaching that I think is really interesting. And it's based on fitness and entrepreneurial. He's a fitness coach and created this entire huge coaching platform and is changing things. I think that's amazing. You can learn from anybody, I guess. I've had amazing coaches, you know, that are not national scale coaches. You can learn from anybody. Everybody has something of value that they can provide to you. So what most people make the mistake on when they're trying to get more information is not being specific about the information that they want or they need. And I get this a lot of time. Well, I don't know. I just started. Okay, then let's have this self-discovery process of who you are. What do you like? If you could like snap your fingers and have this perfect business, what does that look like? Let's talk about that. And then figuring out the pieces that make that business tick. Now we can go find somebody, and it might be somebody that's in your brokerage. It might be somebody that's on this podcast. I mean, it could be literally anybody. You don't have to always go to the top to get the right answer, because a lot of times the people at the top aren't actually on the ground doing it. They did it, but they're not doing it. And I think one of the big things, especially in the shift as the industry, is finding coaches and people that are still doing it. And that's going back to the Area Leader Program. That's why I love it. It's meant for agents that are actually doing the work as well. It's not meant for people that want to, you know, sit back and manage, or people that haven't sold a home for an X amount of years. It's different, right?
Yeah.
So those Benjamin Hardy, those you know, success coaching, the, you know, Abraham Hicks. I know it's a little, if you guys haven't, and it's not what you think it's going to be. And I just got started in this, but it's a lot more spiritual mindset, life, you know, that kind of discussion. There's just some unbelievable conversations that come out of that. And it's weird. You kind of watch it and it's like it's on YouTube, you can find it, but it's not like a TED talk or anything like that. They actually do like animations with it. So I actually don't watch it, I just listen. It's kind of it's bizarre, but that's been amazing.
Check it out.
Gosh, I mean, it's this balance of like mindset and skill. That's what I would say. It's just be a learner. Just be a learner. At the end of the day, absorb, be a sponge, but take the extra step to figure out, okay, do I like it? Do I not like it? Does this fit for me? Does this not fit for me? Because I know a lot of people that are amazing sponges, but they stopped being able to take on water a long time ago because they never went through the process of discerning what makes sense, and they're not analyzing what's going on. They're just taking in any opinion that they can, right? And we all know what opinions are like, right? So I bring it back to, who are you? What inspires you? You know, who's your ideal, you know, this one, who's your ideal client? Right? So if my ideal client is friends, family, and people that know, like, and trust me, am I going to spend a lot of time, you know, learning from somebody who's teaching me how to cold call, or teaching me how to, you know, script role play and trick people into telling? No, I'm going to spend my time learning about human connection and creating a healthy relationship, and you know, and how to serve and how to give and how to receive. That's a big one. Most of
That
us,
is a big one.
a lot of us are huge givers, and then we just give from this empty, and I am guilty of this. We give from this empty vessel because we're too afraid to say, oh, I actually am worthy and I need to receive something now in order to fill my cup back, right? So I would say figure out who you are, but those are some of the ones that Nick Comedina, you know, anything Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan, Abraham Hicks, and I listen to news podcasts too. That's about it. But
Well, this has been awesome. I've gotten so much out of this. I actually have set in on a class, not a class, but one of our calls where you dug into the nitty-gritty of your open house, but that was years ago now, and I really
I know.
want to take your class again, actually, and make it more fun. Get excited about those again, actually, and
Yeah.
not dread them. So,
No, and
yeah.
it's all mindset. It's all mindset. And the class, when it's done, I'm gonna watch that this week, and I got to meet with my marketing team on it. But that's the prescription of like the foundation of the tasks and the things and a little bit of mindset.
Mm.
But the real fun part is kind of taking that to the next level and really getting super, super specific about you and applying it to the system. So that's I'm really excited to do that work once this is done. Yeah, you guys are amazing.
Awesome.
You guys are unbelievable. I'm so
Thank
jealous.
you.
I've always wanted to do a podcast too, and you guys are progress over perfection. You were like, you know what, we're doing this podcast. It's so important right now to do things like this, and I 100% support you guys all the way. You know that.
Well, we are so excited to have you, Max. Thank you so much for being here. Max, again, one last time, people
Yeah.
can find you either on Facebook, Magnetic Agent Collective. They can email you at team@magnetichomegroup.com to learn
Yep.
more about you. And we appreciate you so much, my friend.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to see you guys. I mean, I know this is going to take off because I know you both, and just excited to see where this journey takes us with, the industry, with Epic, with all of this. It's exciting. It's
Well,
really, really exciting.
I feel blessed to have you both in my life. And until the next time, my friends,
All right, I'll see you soon.
see you
Signing
soon.
off.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.